Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into something really cool.
Always.
Today we're taking on AI-powered invoice processing.
Sounds pretty specific. I like it.
Right. It's one of those things that used to be a huge pain point for businesses. I mean, mountains of paperwork, hours spent on data entry, just a drag.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Definitely not the best use of anyone's time.
Exactly. But now, let's just say AI is changing the game in a big way. We're talking making things faster, cheaper, and way more efficient.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Where do we even start with something like that?
Well, to really break it down, we're diving into some materials from Hemingway Solutions.
They're doing some really interesting stuff in this space, right? Especially for nonprofits and smaller businesses.
You got it.
Yeah.
They really seem to get the challenges those organizations face. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the foundation. AI, OCR.
Ah, the engine behind the magic.
Exactly. Now, some people might have heard of OCR, Optimal Character Recognition. It's been around for a while. But AI OCR, that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, it's like the difference between, say, a basic calculator and a supercomputer.
I like that analogy. So for those who don't know, what's the difference?
So think of traditional OCR like a robot trying to read. It can handle printed text pretty well, but throw in some cursive, a fancy font, forget it.
Totally. I can
Ugh.
barely read my own handwriting sometimes.
Right. But AI OCR, it's like giving that robot a crash course in handwriting analysis, calligraphy, the whole works. It uses AI and machine learning to actually understand and extract text from all sorts of documents.
So it's not just recognizing what it's been programmed to see, it's actually learning and adapting as it goes.
You got it. It's constantly evolving and getting smarter with each document it processes, which means it can handle way more than traditional OCR ever could. We're talking different fonts, formats, even that dreaded handwriting, all with much higher accuracy.
Okay, now we're talking. But how much more accurate are we talking here? Give me some numbers.
All right, let's say traditional OCR misreads a handwritten date, maybe 30% of the time? That's a ton of errors.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Right, but with AI OCR, that error rate could drop to like 5% or even less. It's constantly learning and building up its knowledge base.
Wow, that's a game changer. It's like having a tireless digital assistant who never takes a coffee break and just keeps getting better with each invoice.
Exactly, and we're just scratching the surface of what it can do.
Okay, so we've got this like super-powered AI that can read practically anything.
It really is pretty amazing.
Right. But let's get down to brass tacks. Why should businesses actually care about AI OCR and all this invoice automation stuff?
Well, it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about solving those everyday business problems.
Exactly. So let's talk benefits. What's the big payoff here?
First and foremost, we're talking major efficiency gains. Like, imagine this, no more drowning in a sea of invoices.
Oh, the dream.
Yeah, right. AI can process these things way faster than any human, freeing up your team's time.
And time is money, as they say.
Exactly. And that brings us to the next big win: cost savings. Hemingway's materials actually had some pretty eye-opening stats on this.
Yeah, let's hear them.
So get this, manual invoice processing, on average, can cost businesses around $10 per invoice.
Ouch, that adds up fast.
Yeah, especially for those smaller organizations, nonprofits, etc. That's rough, right?
Absolutely.
And even with some automation, it's still a couple of bucks per invoice, but with a dedicated AI solution like Hemingway's talking about, less than $1 per invoice.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking potentially thousands of dollars in savings every month.
For some businesses, even more, especially if they're processing high volumes of invoices.
That's huge. So we're saving time, we're saving money. What else?
Well, how about fewer errors?
Yeah.
AI drastically reduces those risks, meaning more reliable data for you.
Which means better decision-making overall.
Exactly. You're getting higher quality data without lifting a finger.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a no-brainer. But what happens as my business grows? Can this technology keep up?
That's the beauty of it. It's totally scalable. As your business grows, the AI just seamlessly handles the increased workload.
That is pretty amazing. No more late nights buried under a mountain of paperwork.
Right. It's like having that perfect accounting assistant who never sleeps.
Now that's the dream. So we've talked about the why. Let's get into the how. Hemingway Solutions is a really interesting case study here. What are some key features they've got in their approach?
Well, Hemingway takes a really holistic approach. It's like a seamless journey through that whole invoice process.
I like it. Walk me through it.
So it all starts with what they call AI invoice capture, which is pretty self-explanatory.
So that's like the first point of contact.
Exactly.
Ah, music to my ears.
Invoices come in however that looks, email, scans, whatever, and Hemingway's AI automatically imports them.
Okay, so far so good. But what about like accuracy at that stage? How can we be sure the AI is interpreting everything correctly?
Right, so that's where the invoice verification stage comes in. It's like having a second set of eyes double-checking everything.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the system cross-references everything, making sure it all lines up.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Say you have an invoice from a brand new vendor. The system might use the email address to verify the company name, or it might double check the invoice number format, stuff like that.
It's like having that built-in safety net. I like it.
Exactly. And if there's any discrepancy, it gets flagged for a quick manual review. But even then, you're only looking at potential issues,
Right.
not every little detail.
Right. Huge time saver. So we've got the capture, we've got the verification. What's next?
So then comes the invoice approval stage, which honestly, this is usually where things get bogged down in manual processing, but Hemingway's got these automated workflows.
So no more chasing down signatures or wondering where things are stuck.
Exactly. The system automatically routes everything to the right people based on your predefined rules, ensures timely approvals.
Ah, music to my ears. I can only imagine how much easier that would make things, especially for larger teams.
Absolutely. And of course, no invoice processing system would be complete without a secure way to archive everything.
Right. Got to keep those records straight.
Exactly. Hemingway gives you robust search capabilities so you can easily find what you need. Plus, it's all stored securely to keep everything compliant.
Music to any business owner's ears. What I really like is how they've clearly thought about the pain points of manual invoice processing and really designed their system to address those directly.
Absolutely. They've taken those common headaches like slow approvals, searching for old invoices, data entry errors, all of that, and tackled it head on.
It's really impressive. They're not just throwing technology at a problem. They're actually thinking about the people using it.
Right. And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting. It's not just about automating for the sake of it. It's about making work life better, you know?
Absolutely. So let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about AI invoice processing specifically, but what does this mean in the grand scheme of things?
The bigger picture. It's not just about invoices, right? This is about the future of work itself.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're seeing AI take over these tedious, time-consuming tasks in all sorts of fields, freeing up humans to focus on more, well, human things.
So instead of drowning in paperwork, we can finally focus on, like, creativity and problem solving.
Exactly. Imagine your team has the time and energy to brainstorm new ideas, build those relationships, really focus on strategy.
Now, that's a future I can get behind. And it's not just about time either, right? With AI handling the data, we can make better decisions faster.
Absolutely. Accurate, real-time data at your fingertips. It's like having superpowers.
It's like that whole thing, work smarter, not harder, but like actually happening.
Exactly. So to wrap things up, it's clear that AI invoice processing isn't some far-off concept anymore. It's here, and it's changing how we work.
It really is incredible to see how far things have come. And for anyone out there still relying on those old manual processes, I'll leave you with this. What could your business achieve with that extra time, those cost savings? It might be time to take the leap.
I think that's a great place to leave it. Food for thought.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for diving into this with me today.
Anytime. This was fun.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.